Over the weekend, we saw the NWA run 2 pay-per-views from their spiritual home in St. Louis, Missouri. The first was an all-women's pay-per-view booked by executive producer Mickie James, and the second was the NWA 73rd anniversary show. I'm Ryan Joy, and I run minutestobelltime.com, a website and database tracking pro wrestling from around the world. On today's show, we talk about the NWA shows. In our first segment, we have a new world's champion. We saw an incredible promo from Ric Flair. Camille defended the title twice, and there were so many more uplifting moments. We have headlines from the weekend in segment 2. The owner and operator of ProWrestlingPick'em.com, Karl, is in the house, and this is the Daily Wrestling News Show for August 30th, 2021, where we sort through all the bullshit in wrestling news to find you the truth. Karl, welcome to the show. Where have you been?
Where have I been? I've been on my honeymoon. I was down in Key West, as we saw down. If you watched the Essential Wrestling Podcast SummerSlam special, I did it from Key West, Florida, the most southern place in the continental United States. That's their big claim to fame. And I got a little bit of a different setup today. Actually, I have to use my phone again. My laptop's having a problem. I broke my stepson's tripod. Now I have the claw. So this is going to be a fun episode. It's been a great day. I stepped in cat poop this morning. This is a great day so far, Ryan. Coffee's fresh, but we're good. Let's talk some wrestling. Let's talk Ric Flair. That was great.
Ric Flair is amazing. When they announced Ric Flair for the NWA 73rd show yesterday, I thought, well, okay, fine. He'll be out there. He'll, maybe cut a little promo, say something. He'll appear. It'll be nothing. It'll be just a nothing segment or whatever. From the moment Ric Flair walked out on that stage, he looked fantastic, first and foremost. The last several times I've seen him, he looked like he was just like butter spread over too much bread type of situation where his skin was like taut, He looked amazing on the on this show for, being his age and going through what he's gone through. He walked out there, he commanded the crowd for about 10 minutes and cut a promo like only Ric Flair can cut.
Yeah, he spoke from the heart. There was no script there. And what the funny thing was, I'm listening to this. I listened to it this morning. As I said on your thread, I had a fantasy draft last night. I couldn't find Evenry anywhere, but I guess it was the wrong sport. But I watched it this morning, and I can see I can see the cynics right now just being like, you know what? He was just saying all that stuff so that Charlotte doesn't get punished for him leaving. I think he said something where he did a podcast where he did a critique. He criticized WWE for something, however they used whoever it was. I forget the story. Who knows if it's true or not. But then all of a sudden, well, he was just saying that, no, this was Ric Flair. This was from the heart. This was everything. That whole story, they actually did. WWE did a whole documentary on it when Triple H brought Ric Flair back from the dead, quote unquote, when Flair was losing his confidence and all that. And you can see there was no ill will. His business is business. Rick gets it, and he put over the NWA huge, which he should, because he's exactly right from what he said. From Triple H to the Undertaker to whoever, they grew up watching the NWA. So that is point one. It's not the WWE, and as we saw in the title, NWA 73 years. Like, holy crap! And then you saw the Billy Corgan actually produced Mildred Burke's NWA Women's. Yeah, it looks like a wristwatch, but that was the original title. So that was actually really cool.
Yeah. So I agree with you 100% on this Ric Flair thing. And you're right. The cynics are probably going to come out and say what they need to say. But these aren't necessarily, some of these things he was saying were not new stories. But he had everybody's attention from the moment he walked out. And I liked how articulate he was in his delivery. When he first took the mic, I thought, oh no, this isn't going to go well. But he kind of got going, and he just, as he started going, he started talking, he just kept rolling with it, and he became that Ric Flair that we knew from all these years ago when he was cutting promos. And he said something in the beginning about, him not being able to, he basically asked Billy if he could talk about, he didn't say what it was then, but could he talk about WWE? And he says, Billy Corgan said to him, you could do what you want. You're Ric Flair. And Flair says, well, I haven't heard that in a long time. And you thought he was going to go negative, but he didn't. He turned that thing and he went positive. He starts the promo by saying, let me tell you what I did yesterday. He talked to Charles Barkley. Someone told him he couldn't talk to Darius Rucker, so he called Darius Rucker. He talked to Lawrence Taylor. And you want to know why? Because he's Ric Flair and he was the NWA World's Champion. And he just
that's what the NWA World Champion does. Has drinks with Dennis Rodman.
That's right. And he kept going with that, and he kept coming back. So as he told all these stories, and he left, he talked about WCW and the end there, and he talked about his run in WWE, but he would always come back and shape it about the NWA. And I thought that was so good because, he's got this whole history, 40 years, 50 years wrestling, however long it was. And he's found a way to bring everything back. And he says, he's talking about thanking Hunter and thanking Shawn and thanking Vince. He said Vince won't see this, but he'll hear about it. And he'll say, Ric Flair is back where he belongs with anyone who wants to be with him on any given night. That's his right. And he started sort of tearing up. He says, do you know what Hunter has in his office? It's not the WWE Championship. It's the NWA World Championship. And he just kept hitting this point. He says, a lot of people want to work in this business that can't work in WWE. They can't work in AEW. They can work here now. Wrestling needs brands. And he just kept hitting this point home. And he said, I can be here tonight. I can hop on a plane and go see Steve McMichael tomorrow. I can have dinner with Tony Khan on Thursday, and I can sit in the front row and watch Chris Jericho, who watched Ric Flair wrestle Nick Bockwinkel in Winnipeg as the NWA World's Champion. And he kept going back to it and making it about the NWA. And he talked about getting a payoff in St. Louis that he would have $6,000 for working the main event. And he'd only have $1,200 by the time he got to the Delta Gate. And you know what? He gave a $200 tip to the guy who's shining his shoes and a $100 tip to the bartender on the way to the gate. So because he's the NWA World Champion.
That's it. They knew how hard he worked. That was it. You knew how hard I worked. But that was the best point. That was the best point. Wrestling needs brands. Yeah. I love that. That was just it's not a competition. Now the Monday one, sure, Monday night, maybe WCW made it who knows, whatever. That was just, but they need TV time for these guys. And like I said, that's my only knock. I love AEW. I know sometimes I'm more negative on the fans of AEW because they're so one-sided, and it's not fair. It's just there's something for everybody is the main point. But even AEW's rosters too. But there's homes for everybody. They need homes. You have Ring of Honor. You have New Japan. There's plenty of platforms now in 2021. This is a great time to be a wrestling fan. I don't know why people are just so negative on it. Like, yeah, okay, it's not gold 24/7. I get that, but it's just like, you know what? You could be worse. You could be watching, knitting, I guess, or a Tiddlywinks competition. I don't know what, shut up and be grateful. There's a whole thing on WrestleMania 36, right? Shut up and be grateful. Like this.
Right. You could not have options, right? I mean, that's what the alternative is. You could be sitting here and you could only have, Raw and SmackDown to watch and not have AEW and not have Impact. We have wrestling every night of the week, and most days we have more than one show. So
and that's what it was in like 2001, 2002. WWE was the monopoly.
Yes,
because they bought their competition. ECW was dead. Impact didn't start yet. Ring of Honor didn't start yet. Yeah, New Japan was not a thing for American TV. Like they had it.
Yeah.
So like now it's spread out. The TNA started and Ring of Honor started, even though that wasn't on TV. Eventually it was, and then it's everything. It's a great time to be like. I mean, now you got CM Punk back. Now you have Brock Lesnar back, Becky Lynch back, Ruby Riot's coming back, Daniel Bryan possibly back on Sunday. Heard that rumor. We can sort through that later. It's just Sunday's card at All Out is stacked, and there's 2 matches at Dynamite where I'm going to complain about, like, why the hell aren't these matches on a pay-per-view? Like, why can't we see FTR? Yeah, but that's a different story. But it's just like it's such a great time. And then tonight, we got a huge Raw card. I missed Raw last week because of the honeymoon. I caught up on everything else. You just said Raw's card last week. You said pre-production was great. SmackDown was great. NXT, I guess, is going to have some issues. We're going to get to that. But, the UK, again, on par. Like, it's perfect. And Ric Flair summed it up in about 10 minutes.
Yep. And he did that while also always bringing it back to the NWA. And the other thing I want to, Ric Flair, he cut that great promo. He wasn't the only celebrity guest, though, that they had. Conan was also there later in the night, and Conan didn't have the 10 minutes that Ric Flair had. Conan, he accompanied La Rebellion, which is Bestia Seis, and Mecha Wolf to the ring as they challenged for the tag titles, which they won. And then I believe they're the first Latin tag team champions in the NWA's 73-year history. But Conan talked about the diversity of the business today that didn't exist when he broke in. And he talked about the companies working together that you see now too, and how great that is. So Conan was taking the points that Ric Flair made, and he was expanding on them even further to say, look, we have all this diversity now. Wrestling is great. Yes, there's all the brands for people to work at, and the brands are working together, and people are represented when they weren't before. So the NWA,
Conan broke it. I don't know early Conan, but the first time, and I didn't even realize it was Conan. First time I saw Conan was in a space costume.
There you go. Yeah.
Come a long way since Max Moon, like.
And now he is like this ambassador of Mexican wrestling. He's involved with AAA down there, which AAA's relationships with MLW and AEW and NWA and anybody who Ring of Honor, anybody who wants to work with them, they're there, they're represented. And Conan is on almost all these shows now because everybody wants to get the rub from Conan. Everybody knows what it means when Conan walks out there. So it's really
cool. Conan wears it on as I am with New Jersey, Conan is with Mexico, or any type of Latin Southern, and that's great. He wants to be that cheerleader. He wants to be the guy in the corner for this random Mexican tag team in the NWA, or with Santana and Ortiz, or with if WWE will allow him. I mean, there's a bunch of luchadors in imagine him with like Legado, like Conan, walking around Legado del Fantasma. I mean, I'm sure he would do that in a heartbeat to put these guys over.
Yep, to do an appearance. Yeah, for sure. So the whole thing about the NWA, and we'll get to Empower, because Empower was a great show, and I bet you more people watched Empower, the all-women's show, on Saturday than watched the 73rd anniversary show on Sunday. But on the opening of the 73rd anniversary show, the cold open was John Goodman, and he was doing a kind of a talk about where the NWA has been, what its history is in St. Louis, and the idea that they kind of brought up in this cold open was that they were memorializing their history while also pushing everything forward. So it was kind of marrying those two things. You go to St. Louis, you go to the Chase Park Hotel, and you are there for the history. You root today's product in the historical venue, the spiritual home of the NWA. And that kind of weaved its way through. And as you see at the very end of the last match of the weekend was Trevor Murdoch challenging Nick Aldis for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And Trevor comes out, and he's basically wearing the same jacket that Harley Race would have worn, right? It was a tribute jacket. It was modeled the same way with the red and the blue and stuff. I got Harley sitting behind me over here. So, and Trevor Murdoch, new NWA World's Champion, Al, after a 1,044-day reign as champion. Nick Aldis dropped the belt to Trevor Murdoch. We have Walter and Nick Aldis losing their belts within 8 days after holding them for 1,000.
The 1,700 combined or 1,800 combined. Yeah, so I didn't give Trevor Murdoch a shot. I made a joke on your thread when I chimed in late after I said, please God, make sure I didn't miss Trevor Murdoch. Like Trevor Murdoch is whatever. I looked at Trevor Murdoch and I'm like, you know what? I should come out and retire. That's I
know.
I am not in shape, but I feel like I'm in better shape than Trevor. But he's an athletic guy. I saw he hopped over the guardrail that one time. Like, okay, Trevor. And it's whatever, but it makes complete sense. You had this huge, everything that you just mentioned. You had this huge historical event where they're marrying everything. You have Ric Flair there, Harley Race's best friend, and you have a guy paying tribute to Harley Race. It completely. This was the time. I get it 100%. I'm not going to poke fun of Trevor's. Trevor's family was there, and we thought maybe like, oh wow, he really is retiring after this. But now you got the title change, and Flair came out. Flair put him over at the end, right? I woke up at the end after the Bulldog, and Flair held his hand up. The timing was perfect. The timing was perfect for Nick Aldis to finally drop that, and kudos to Nick Aldis. They said there was a lot of guys over the past years, I'm sure, were incredible challenges. I remember I specifically watched him versus Mike Bennett. Maybe I think it was like last year, maybe.
Yep.
I'm a big Mike Bennett fan, but they, perfect timing. It made complete sense and sent the crowd home happy. They saw history. That was the whole. It was a historical, and they saw history. They saw a 1,000-day reign come to an end.
Yeah, it's nice they tied this moment to this event that they were, this comeback to St. Louis and things like that. And, Trevor Murdoch announced, typically he's announced from Texas, built from Texas. But on that night, they said, born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. And yes, the whole, he was trained by Harley Race. He has this close connection with Harley Race and everything. And they had a killer match. And you're right. You look at Trevor Murdoch, and he's not the guy you look at and you say he's not a world champion. He doesn't have a world champion look, but neither did Rey Mysterio, neither did Shawn Michaels, neither did Steve Austin or Eddie Guerrero, and they're the best of all time. So they're not an Italian, not the boat, I know, but those guys are some of the greatest of all time.
Do you just compared Trevor Murdoch to about 4 or 5?
What I'm saying is Trevor Murdoch does not look like a world champion, but neither did those guys who we consider to be the best of all time. So I'm just saying that, you can't judge a book by its cover. Now, Trevor Murdoch is not going to be Trevor Murdoch is not going to be selling out Madison Square Garden, but he'll sell out the Chase Park Plaza Hotel in St. Louis, Missouri.
You know what? I'm gonna call it right now. I think Trevor Murdoch's gonna be the one that beats Kenny Omega. Actually, no, Christian's gonna do it Sunday. Trevor Murdoch will be the guy that beats Christian Cage for the AEW World Championship.
Yeah, no. So, joking aside, there, I don't even know if this is going to be a very long run for Trevor. Because he's the funny thing about Trevor Murdoch is, like we kind of set it up. Like he's not the guy that you would think would be champion. He was not the kind of guy that you think would beat Nick Aldis. But at the same time, Nick Aldis had that belt for forever, and there was nobody really left for him to fight. So switch it over to a babyface for a while and let Trevor, beat a couple of the bad guys, or move it on to a different heel afterwards. But it made, like you said, everything kind of built. Trevor slowly got himself over with the NWA fan base, and it kept kind of going and building, and they told a really great story. They had 4 matches, and Trevor lost all of them up to that one, but every match kind of ended in a weird way and stuff like that. So there wasn't a definitive winner, and it just kind of everything built to here. And let's be honest, Nick Aldis is not buried by losing one match after a 1,000-day reign. So
there goes Trevor Murdoch burying people again.
So like I said,
Trevor Murdoch and his golden shovel. There you go. I can see.
Well, like I said, Trevor Murdoch could lose the belt in the power tapings that are happening this week, today.
You know what? I actually thought of that. I call it the Rhino treatment. I know what happened to Randy Savage twice. But, Rhino at the first Bound for Glory went through hell to become NWA TNA champion, only to lose it on the next show back to Jeff Jarrett. I was you know what? I guarantee you all this wins this back on Tuesday.
They could be. Yeah. But they had their moment. And you know what? Now they don't have
exactly. And no one's going to care. As I said, you watch the first Bound for Glory. It's one of my favorite. If you ever see the first Bound for Glory, it's one of my favorite shows ever. Definitely on my top 5 list. And there's so many great matches. Dude, it starts off with Samoa Joe versus Juice and Thunder Liger. I mean, come on. So you get to the end, and Rhino goes through hell, literally. Not literally, but goes through hell and becomes champion. And that's all you remember. They don't bring up that he loses it 2 days later. That's it. You think maybe Rhino has this historic title run, and then all of a sudden you find out 20 years later when he becomes TNA Impact Tag Team Champion that this is his first titles since that night in October 2004 or whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's move on from Trevor because there's so much other stuff that happened. Camille had a match with Layla Hirsch during Empower that was such a showcase for Layla Hirsch. She is so good, and I'm saying this because Camille doesn't have a lot of great matches. I'll be honest. Like she's a huge woman.
Brick house.
She's a brick house.
She's a brick house.
She's very good. I'm not saying that she's bad or anything, but the quality of match that she had with Layla Hirsch was sort of off the charts, and it was way better than the match she had with Chelsea Green last night on the NWA 73. So Layla Hirsch, she's got
right. That's what Jersey does. That's just what Jersey does, Ryan. The pride. I know they announced her from Moscow, born in Moscow, but what a great story. Comes stateside, becomes a state champion in Hillsborough, New Jersey. It's just a great story. Yeah, and she shined. She shined. Jersey stole it between her and Deanna. Jersey stole both those shows.
Yeah. So Camille does get a win over Layla on night one, which, you know what, we thought it was going to be a squash for the first 8 minutes. She ended up not being a squash at all. Layla had some very close near falls, had her in the cross arm breaker. So it was great. Camille went on. She beat Chelsea Green. Chelsea won the gauntlet match at the end of the night on night one to get that shot. Not as good a match as Layla Hirsch. You mentioned Deanna Purrazzo on NWA Empower. She got her win over Melina. Great match. A lot of psychology in that match, working the arm and things like that. I know you'll say it's a great story if.
Yeah, it's a great story if you love complete and utter domination. That was a great story.
So Deanna Purrazzo gets her big win on NWA Empower. She defends the Knockouts Championship. She showed up, though, on NWA 73 after Mickie James defeated Kylie Ray, Smiley Kylie. Deanna comes out, but we don't know it's Deanna because it's this person under a hood and everything like that. And
I thought it was CM Punk.
Yeah, it could. Well, they might have done things with camera angles. Could have been.
It could have been.
But it was Deanna Purrazzo, and Deanna attacked Mickie James. So presumably, Deanna versus Mickie is going to be on an Impact show or on an NWA show. I'm sure they're going to build it up on both shows, regardless of when it is or where it is. But Al, you said to me in pre-production, and I think you're right, it's got Bound for Glory written all over it.
Yeah, like I said, when I was watching the replay Impact on Saturday morning, I believe, I had a nice, full pot of coffee, catching up on the wrestling I missed because I was down in Florida. Yeah, I was watching, and it just all the time she was popping up and just pissing down. Like Deanna's, this has got Bound for Glory written on it. Like, this is Mickey's known for this. I think Mickey's last, who'd she fight? Asuka for the last time she challenged for the Raw Women's title. And that was a big thing. You always give Mickie credibility. That match, you kind of like, okay, well, maybe they will give Mickie one last run. And then I'm going to rewind. I got to look up this date for the EWP tomorrow, but it was, I want to say, I don't think it was London, but it was one of the early takeovers where she challenged Asuka for the NXT Championship. And it was just one of those like, okay, this is way before there was the undefeated streak or whatever. So I was like, Mickie could take this. You bring back Mickie, So Mickie finds her way in these huge championship matches, and 9.5 out of 10 times she performs and she shines.
I actually and check me on this, but I actually think it was deep into Asuka's NXT Championship run that they brought Mickie in, and I think it's kind of for the same reason with Deanna. Like Asuka had beaten almost everybody, and they brought in Mickie as a credential, right? Mickie has this history of championships in both Impact and in WWE. She is a legend still wrestling in terms of women's wrestling. I mean, she had great feuds with all the people that are retired, the Trish Stratuses and stuff like that. So Mickie James, you get a win over Mickie James. That's a notch on your belt. So Asuka got it when she was NXT champion, and now it looks like Deanna's hunting for that credential, and maybe she'll get that at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, there's no better opponent you can do on it. Bound for Glory is their version of WrestleMania. Their Wrestle Kingdom. I guess AEW, if you want to do Double or Nothing, I know we had this conversation before. I guess maybe Double or Nothing is their big anniversary event or their big show. But this is their WrestleMania. This is where they're going to show out, and they already said in the promo, this is going to be interpromotional. And if you have an interpromotional match where she can lose the Impact Championship, the Impact Knockouts Championship to an NWA wrestler. The war is brewing in Impact. The war is brewing, and it's going to happen at Bound for Glory. I think it's going to kind of culminate, hopefully.
Boy, it takes a lot of trust. Just on Impact, real quick, man, they're showing a lot of trust in these other companies, right? They've sent the tag belts to New Japan. They've sent the world title to AEW, and it's been in AEW for months now. And yeah, so the precedent is set. So it's not crazy to think that Deonna could lose the belt to Mickie, right? It's not like when this whole thing first started.
That is very crazy. Deonna losing, yes, that is extremely crazy.
Deonna's so great, I know. But when this thing first started, you whenever you see these companies working together, like, oh, they're not going to let their title go to the other company.
Yeah,
that's off the table now.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not. I will be completely shocked if that happens.
Yeah, I probably would be too. Actually, I was surprised that Mickie James beat Kylie Rae, to be honest. But I guess if they're setting this up, she has to win.
Yeah. So. When does Deonna start tearing through the AEW roster? When is AEW gonna get? Where are those women gonna get the ovaries to come over and fight Deonna? Because it seems like they're avoiding her.
Travis and I are going to talk about All Out tomorrow. Deonna has said publicly a bunch of times that she would like to be wrestling in AEW. How come she hasn't been able to walk through the door? How come no woman has been able to walk through the door, basically, from Impact into AEW? And they got this Casino Battle Royal coming up at All Out.
Yeah.
And they don't have 21 people on that are active. And if the Japanese people aren't over, they have even less. So it's a good possibility that you have some debuts maybe that don't sign, or you have some people walk through the door. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Deonna's one of them. But
I would keep Deonna out of that because she would have to win. She would have to win. I would keep Deonna out of that. I'd send Tenille and Jordan over. Just let those two dip your toe in the water with the two best girls that you got, and see how they and just watch them dominate. Because I'm sorry, it's not a shot at the Impact women. I love women's wrestling. And Power was great. I just think the Knockouts division is just 10 times better than AEW. And that's not a shot because they have Layla Hirsch, Britt Baker, Chris Down. They have a bunch of women. Swole can go. Swole's great. But I just feel like the Knockouts level is just on another level. And I just want to see what Jordan and Tenille can do in that setting. See what Kiara can do. You can look at Kiara Hogan. Well, there you go. She's been. You saw her.
Will be in it. Yeah, she probably will.
Yeah, she will be in it, and she already had the one match against Jade, and now she saw her this weekend representing AEW at Empower in a great showing in that battle royal. She's number 2, and I think she might have made it to the final 4, if not 5. I can't remember. She got hit by Masha Slamovich.
Yeah, she was in the final 4, I think. I think she was final 3 even. But real quick to kind of close the loop on the Empower and the NWA weekend, because we've gone almost a half hour on it at this point. Allison Kay and Marty Bell, they won the vacant NWA World Tag Team titles. We haven't had women's tag titles in NWA since the 80s. Not since I have to look up the history here, but I want to say they went to the WWE and that was it.
Those belts are just calling out the Sea Stars, right? You gotta get the Sea Stars in there. Those are perfect for them. They're whales of champions.
So Allison
sharks in the water.
Marty Bell won those. I want to make a point though that Kylan King looked amazing in both the matches. Yeah. She was, I thought, the star of that tournament. So I don't know what they're doing. They got to get her signed to a big deal.
Oh my God, Terry Gordy's daughter.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
The free babe.
If you would have walked, the free babes, you walk the 3 of them out there and pick out Terry Gordy's daughter. That was just Terry. That's just Terry with long hair. It's great. Absolutely great.
All right. Well, Al, I am going to set us up here. We got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking about all the headlines from the weekend. And I'm trying to bring up my commercial now, so Al, say something smart.
Yeah, so 2 plus 2 is 4.
It's coming. I don't know what.
Okay, that's as smart as I can get, Ryan. You know
show, then I want to tell you how you can support us. First, check out bodyslamclothes.com. You can get a variety of shirts for just $20, and all of them come in the super soft style, and the price you see includes all sizes and shipping. Get 10% off 2 or more shirts with the promo code SHIRTS10. Go to bodyslamclothes.com right now to check it out. And join Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Monday nights for the Primetime Rundown. They take you through the world of sports, and the show kicks off each Monday at 7 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And each Tuesday, Karl hosts the Essential Wrestling Podcast alongside John Smith, myself, John DeConnie, and Gary Mahaffey. It's another week of updates and highlights in the world of wrestling. Here are our analysis on who we think is going to win the week's matches. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. on the Eastern Observer. And Pro Wrestling Pick'em. It's a place where you can join or host a Pick'em League to test your predictive skills in the world of pro wrestling. Create an account and join a league now at ProWrestlingPick'em.com so you can play against your friends or play against the universe. And the Body Slam Brigade newsletter, currently going out to over 4,200 people each Friday. It consolidates all the top stories in professional wrestling into a quick-to-read email written by me for you for free. Sign up now at bodyslambrigade.com. And of course, this show, the Daily Wrestling News Show. We're here every day, Monday through Thursday, and occasionally on Friday. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or watch us live on Facebook and YouTube at 10 a.m. This is the Daily Wrestling News Show, and we thank you for your support. Okay, we're back for headlines. Al, did you see the new NXT logo?
Yeah, okay. Who says that's the new logo?
Triple H.
From the tweet I saw from WWE, it said, like, this is coming. It had said nothing that was the new logo. It said that nothing that we're being rebranded. Who is spreading this, Ryan? That's not what I saw.
WWE did a commercial during Raw or SmackDown. That did the whole new NXT logo and said coming soon.
So that is the new logo. That's not just some type of trippy, like,
that's
that 70s guy, Mike Awesome, or superstar Billy Graham, tie-dye, something. No, that's their new logo.
That's the new logo. Yep.
All right.
You okay?
Hunter, I trust. And Hunter, I trust. What are you gonna do?
It's gonna be different. It's going to be obviously.
Apparently, it's the start of this new era. So apparently, we got to get new title belts. We got to get new logos. We got to rebrand everything. That's why they're probably taking the 3 weeks off to, the tape or whatever. They got to rebuild the CWC, I guess, to be more hippie-ish, more veggie burrito.
PW Insider did confirm this morning that NXT intends to go live on 9/14 and remain live from that point forward. So, yeah, I think you're spot on. They're rebranding NXT. It kind of looks. To say that, like, maybe Bob Ross made this new logo wouldn't be out of hand. Like, it's bright colors.
It's happy.
I would say that the NXT that we've had up to this point has been like, I don't know, like a concert, like a small venue underground type concert. And now we're going to be more mainstream, bright colors. You're going to have lights and things like that in the arena. It's going to have a completely different look. It's not going to have probably like the chain link fences that we're used to seeing in like this mosh pit style wrestling show. It's going to be different look. It's going to be a different look. So yeah.
So apparently, like you said, there was a comment last Tuesday. It came through on my personal Facebook post that I'm not sure translated into the comments section on the Essential Wrestling Podcast. I wasn't there, but my buddy Kenny. He's calling this a failure. He's calling NXT a failure. He wanted my opinion about Triple H failing and having their. Now, this is not. This is Triple H being too good and Vince being pissed off and making him change. That's what I'm saying. I think NXT was better than Raw and SmackDown. Well, SmackDown's good, but NXT was the best thing WWE had going. And now Vince, I'm hearing rumors that he doesn't want to sign any more indie guys, and now he wants to change everything. He wants to be more developmental, and he wants to knock them down.
Some of that's not rumors. Some of those are direct quotes from WWE. WWE is not interested in hiring from independent wrestlers anymore. So AEW, I believe they said AEW can have all of them. They're going to be going in a different direction. Well, they don't have them all. I mean, there's still a lot of independent wrestlers out there, but WWE's not shopping for them anymore. They're going to be looking to, major athletes, college athletes and different standouts from different areas. This is not a knock on them. Look, there's enough room for everybody. Ric Flair just said it in his promo. There's a lot of people that want to work in this business that can't work at WWE, and there you go. So yes, I think there's something to what you're saying. They were trying to accomplish something with NXT, and it didn't accomplish that. And because it didn't accomplish that, Vince McMahon or Nick Khan or whoever made an opinion and said, well, since we didn't do that thing, let's go back to strict developmental and redo everything. Yeah, I agree. NXT was the best thing that WWE had, and it's not going to be that anymore. So,
well, you never know. It could be, because it depends on how you want to watch wrestling. Now, this is me. Apparently, I actually had posted this on Facebook a couple of years ago. Apparently, I'm in the minority on this one. I just want to see the wrestling. Who's better than who? A lot of people rely on the storylines to get them through an episode. Like, why is this guy fighting who and this, whatever? Why is Edge fighting Booker T over shampoo commercial, stuff like that? If you're tuning in for the storyline, Hunter knows how to do that very, very well. So I think the storyline part of it and making up stuff for these guys to fight about, I think you're going to be okay. It's the in-ring product. This is truly developmental. We're going to be seeing a lot of, it was a Botchmania's, whatever, YouTube.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, you're definitely going to see, and John Smith and I talked about this last week, and we're going to continue. John Smith and I aren't going to have a show this week because the Daily Wrestling News show is going to be off on Wednesday, Thursday this week. But we're watching what we see on NXT, and we're going to be reporting on that on Wednesday mornings. We're going to see changes, and I think last week we talked about how a lot of people that we wouldn't really expect to be wrestling the top stars have started. Now we have Duke Hudson versus Kyle O'Reilly. That match seems to come out of nowhere. You have Zion Quinn, who nobody had even heard of prior to last week. He takes a big win in the second to last segment of NXT last week. So you're going to start seeing new people come in, new people getting wins. And I don't think that we've had long tenures in the NXT world. And I don't think they're getting rid of Johnny Gargano or Ciampa or anybody like that anytime soon. But we're not going to see another guy last as long as Johnny Gargano has lasted in NXT. That's not the model that they're going to go forward with. I don't think so. Yeah, you're right. We'll see changes, but you're right. We're going to still probably have decent stories, maybe even better stories than what we had with Vince kind of sticking his hands in and pulling out Karrion Kross way before there was a story to allow it on NXT type of thing. So.
Yeah, because you can see who survives this. Because now you say, are they not plucking from this tree anymore? Like, are they going to call ups? I guess if you want to call them. Yeah. What do you do? Like, what do you do with Kyle? Like, are they're just NXT lifers now? And now their job going forward is just to put over random Olympians that are not indie wrestlers.
Maybe. I mean, I don't even know really what's the long-term plan for Samoa Joe. He doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. This whole not taking indie wrestlers, that's gonna stop, because once that's gonna get maybe about a year, but that's just gonna get old. There's no way. There's not enough non-indie talent out there for them to develop in time to fill roster spots, especially if you're cutting 50 to 100 people a year, plus call-ups. Like, there's gonna be nobody left, but it's gonna be 2 hours of Ciampa versus Gargano.
I mean, they had a history of some success pulling in people from outside world that weren't indie wrestlers. Going back years, you have to look at Mark Henry and even Bianca Belair. If they had listened to Mark Henry, they would have had Jade Cargill. So it's like there's a lot of they have had history of making success. Kurt Angle is another one, but you look at a long history to find a few good ones. So
yeah, there's a lot of names. I don't know why Baron Corbin came to mind right off the bat, but he was not an indie wrestler. He was a football player. You know, it's in Brock Lesnar. He wasn't an indie wrestler. He was an NCAA wrestler. Like, that's...
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on from NXT because we can talk about that for ages, I think. The SmackDown audience, the ratings for Friday night, they were up a lot. The Becky Lynch's return, the advertised and return of Brock Lesnar. We don't know the actual number for the rating on Friday yet, but because the NFL preempted a bunch of the markets for SmackDown, we don't quite have the final number, but it's expected to be still way up. So that's the story with that, but that's good news. I mean, it says that Becky Lynch means a lot, and so does Brock Lesnar.
And Liv Morgan.
And Liv Morgan.
That was Liv Morgan's return too.
But not advertised return. So the October 15th and 29th episodes of SmackDown will get bumped to FS1 for Major League Baseball. Roman
Playoffs.
Reigns. Yeah. Roman Reigns is going to be fighting Finn Balor for the Universal Championship this Friday. That is an official match now on SmackDown. Doesn't mean that we're going to have a satisfying conclusion and that match doesn't continue on to Extreme Rules. In fact, I would venture to believe that that's probably the case. I don't think they're going to burn through that match that quickly. So, but today is the 1-year anniversary of Roman Reigns' Universal Championship win. So he has been champion for 365 contiguous days as of today.
Yeah, you got to acknowledge the tribal chief. This has been great. Keep it going. Like, he's going to beat Finn. He's going to beat Brock. He's going to beat Rock. He's going to beat. I don't know, who do you bring back after Rocky? Like, I don't. Like, it's really.
I thought Brock Lesnar, but that seems like that's happening now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan versus Roman Reigns, SummerSlam.
There's your answer, Hulk Hogan. Exactly. There's your answer, Hulk Hogan.
Bray Wyatt's gone from WWE, but The Fiend is getting some new merch. You can get a Funko Pop of Bray Wyatt as The Fiend with a Santa Claus hat on. Apparently that's coming out if it's not out already. So there you go.
Might as well. And he hasn't changed his Twitter handle yet. Is he really gone? I think Bray Wyatt is that good to the point. You know, this is a great story. This is a great storyline.
Well, let's see.
Just like when Adam Cole went on the Pat McAfee show, oh my God, this is real. It wasn't.
Let's wait that out then. I'm pretty sure he's gone. They may hire him back, though. They may hire him back. That's the thoughts. So, Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net reported that Jim Ross was going to vacate his announce post on Dynamite. He was going to go back to only doing sit-down interviews and maybe some things in the backstage area. That's not news. That's bullshit. And that's been verified by Tony Khan himself that that's not a thing. So not sure where Cassidy Haynes got that. So programming note, no daily wrestling news show from Wednesday to Monday because I'm headed to Chicago for All Out and Rampage and Dynamite and GCW and Black Label Pro and AAW. So I'll be busy.
Nice. I got one article that I saw I kind of wanted to get your opinion on. It's the fact I didn't write it down, but I think I saw the headline that The Rock was a quote-unquote virtual lock for WrestleMania. So my question is, why would they do this virtually and not have him in person?
Well, he's more available, right? Like, he doesn't have to show up.
Yeah, but why put him on the Titantron? That's so stupid. Yeah, see, this is how rumors get started virtually. It's a big Zoom call on the Titantron. Rock.
Yeah, funny. We'll see, though. I'm excited for the potential return of The Rock at Survivor Series. I think that'd be awesome. And then set up the WrestleMania match. That's what everybody thinks. And Survivor Series is in Brooklyn, so not hard to get to, Al.
Now it's not hard to get to. I hope I'll be working that night and I'll be missing the whole entire thing. But yeah, Barclays, that place is in my heart. I love the Barclays Center.
Well, for Monday Night Raw tonight, it's in Oklahoma City. There are 4,700 seats the arena set up for. Only 288 seats left. So it seems like they're meeting projections there. The Miz versus John Morrison tonight. Sheamus versus Lashley and Eva Marie versus Doudrop. And I make the bold prediction now that Eva Marie is going to get dropped tonight.
Oh, you think so?
I do think so.
I think we're going to have an Eva Marie win. I think we're going to have a Miz win. It's going to be a great Raw tonight.
Are all of these matches feel like they will continue on to Extreme Rules? It feels like these
exactly like I said. Miz has got roll up written all over it, feet on the ropes, however dirty, whatever, just so they can have some sort of cage match or whatever stipulation that they decide.
Well, it's Johnny Drip, so it's waterboard for the win or something.
Yeah, you can dripstick on a pole.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
That would probably be it. Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here. Anything else in the world of wrestling we need to talk about?
Oh my God, we can talk about Eva Marie. We keep talking about Raw. Let's go.
That's it. That's all I got.
No, I'm excited for All Out. I'm excited that you're going to be able to go and see that. Make sure you get a Minutes to Bell Time sign going, or if you want to throw a PWP sign up there, Pro Wrestling. I'll give some business cards to hand out if you don't mind. But yeah, I'm excited for All Out. I tune into the Essential Wrestling Podcast tomorrow. We're going to be making our picks. Ryan, make sure you send me your picks, and I will make sure that they are on air so everybody knows where your head's at, because you are in the lead right now. So people are going to want to know your opinion.
The top.
That's it.
The top. All right. All right. For Al, I'm Ryan. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow's the final show of the week for the Daily Wrestling News Show. Have a great week.
The call.